Welcome to SWITCHTRACK, a summer mini-series brought to you by the Mischief Movement podcast. These are the real-life stories of rebels who changed direction by choice or by force and found freedom on the other side. Because sometimes life plays a tune that doesn't quite fit, and the most powerful thing you can do is flip the track entirely. I'm your host, Zoe Greenhalf, disruptive coach, mindset mentor, and mischievous guide for quiet rebels and unconventional humans who are done settling and ready to redesign a life that actually fits. In this series, we're catching up with past guests who've dared to pivot, disrupt, and create something more aligned to who they really are. Short, snappy, and full of insight, each episode is a reminder that you're allowed to change, to evolve, and to burn the old script if it doesn't serve you anymore. So whether you're standing at a crossroads, itching for more, or quietly plotting your next move, this series is for you. Let's jump into today's SWITCHTRACK story. Okay, so welcome to episode 1 of the SWITCHTRACK Summer Series podcast, where we are going to be revisiting some of the previous guests. Now, my guest today is Hayley Dawson, Dr. Hayley Dawson, I should add, who was actually interviewed in episode 17. So if you want to listen back to the original, you can go back to episode 17 and connect some of the dots. But today I want to talk to Hayley about where we are now, because I think things have changed a little bit. So Hayley, welcome. Thank you so much for coming back to chat with me.
Thank you so much. Thank you. You're right. So much has changed, and I can't wait to get into it.
Okay. All right, then. Well, let's start there. Where were you in life the last time that we spoke?
So the last time we spoke, I was working full time and trying and failing, I would say, to be honest, to build a company on the side. So I have got 12 years of experience in teaching and education and research behind me. And I was trying to build education around navigating modern adulthood, which is all in that previous episode, right?
Yeah.
It was called The Blocks, as in the building blocks of life. And it was clear to me that so many people were struggling to build their careers, to regulate their emotions, to build relationships with people, to deal with the fast pace of change, to connect with one another. And of course, that's still true today.
Yeah.
And all of these things are very real issues that people come across. But the framing, the way I was framing it was all wrong. The way I had packaged everything up around navigating modern adulthood wasn't connecting with people.
Okay.
And to be honest, I wasn't connecting with it either. Everything felt very disjointed, frustrating, overwhelming as well. So that's where I was.
Okay. It's really interesting that you were able to see that and feel that kind of disjointedness. What changed and what made you take a leap in a slightly different direction?
So it wasn't working, as I said. So I went back to the drawing board. And when I took some time off, took a long break of a couple of months. And when I came back to it and started sort of brainstorming, thinking again about how I could bring this education to people, I realized that I was incredibly qualified to speak on these topics and research them and create education around them, specifically in the career space. And I realized that building a career and the skills that I mentioned a minute ago on regulating emotions, building professional relationships, navigating change, they're all human skills. And so then that's where Let's Talk Human Skills began. So I changed the business name. I changed the target audience. I got laser sharp on these 7 essential human skills that we all need to make work and working together better. And since getting that clarity and making that huge change, I've delivered workplace training on human skills for the most incredible clients like ASOS and the King's Trust and UCL, University College London, and so many more. And I've started an in-person conversation series as well. I've created lots of free resources for people. And actually, the human skills curriculum that I've created has now reached over 5,000 people. So you see, I think if you're building a business, you need three things. This is what I've learned, these three things. So the first thing is the knowledge and the expertise in your area, of course, to be able to create something and bring it to life. And I had knowledge and expertise about the things I was talking about. So big tick there.
Yeah.
The second I found is that you need to enjoy it. So I enjoyed creating something from scratch, taking it out of my head, bringing it into the world. I enjoyed the topic that I was creating education around as well. So a big tick there. And then the third thing, it has to be something that people want, right? So people need what you're creating. And that's the problem that I had with the blocks and how the business was before, because the way I packaged everything up was not connecting with people. People couldn't see a need for it. And that was the curveball I wasn't quite expecting, I think.
Yeah.
And the way I responded to it was to stop, to take a break, to go back to the drawing board, get more clarity, take my time, and then take more action, and all of that action led to what it is now and what my career is now, which is all about Let's Talk Human Skills, really.
It's fantastic. What were the scariest parts of pivoting and how did you handle those?
I think for me, the scariest part of pivoting was wondering whether it was all going to fail again.
Sure.
Even though I had the immense clarity, even though I could see the huge need for human skills training, even though every single person that I spoke to or that found out about my work online would all say exactly the same thing. They would say, "Oh my God, Hayley, this is so needed." But there was still that niggle. Oh, am I gonna fail again? But here's the thing. So the only reason I learned that the blocks was not working was because I tried it, right? I had an idea, I took action towards it, and I tried to make it happen, and it didn't work. And knowing that was what made me try Let's Talk Human Skills. The only way I was ever going to find out whether I could make Let's Talk Human Skills a success or not was literally by trying it. So, yes, it was scary. The pivot was scary. But I think the realization I had was, well, what else am I going to do? Just let the idea die on the sofa while I binge watch Netflix, And I thought, no, actually, I'm going to try this as well.
Yeah, I love that so much. I mean, we talk about it all the time, but failures or mistakes or errors, they are literally the stepping stones that create that success afterwards. And I have to remind myself of that many times, but I do tend to look at them like that now, as opposed to this didn't work. God, I'm so terrible at doing this thing. It's just like, okay, what did we learn? Go back to the drawing board, because you can't jump 100 meters in one file swoop. You've got to take these little jumps first and see what you learn. So it's awesome that you were able to take that time to get clear. And also, like, well done, because you could have just sat there and gone, you know what, it didn't work. Whatever, just go back to life before the blocks and see what happens. But you didn't, and you carried on, and you were courageous about it and curious enough to say, what if I just changed it slightly? What would happen?
That's it.
And it's lovely to see where you've got to now. What surprised you most about life on the other side of this change?
So two things I don't know if they've surprised me, but they've become very obvious to me.
Okay.
And so the first is the simplest things get the greatest results. There is no need to overcomplicate anything ever. Mm-hmm. I really, really believe that. And when I was building the blocks, I was overcomplicating things. Let's Talk Human Skills doesn't need to be everything to be impactful, right? So the simplicity is that I focus now on 7 essential human skills that we need for career success. So they're confidence, emotional intelligence, communication, collaboration, relationship building, ideation, so how to think, and adaptability as well. And I'm using those human skills to deliver workplace training. So that's one product or service.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm using those 7 skills to build Human Skills School, which is another product or service. Then I'm hosting the in-person conversation series, Let's Talk. So that's another product or service. Then I'm creating the free resources around the 7 essential human skills as well.
Yeah.
And that's another product or service. And so I'm using the same thing for everything that I create. Those 7 essential human skills are the basis for everything.
Sure.
And the thing is that before making the pivot, I thought I needed to be everything to everyone and offer all of these different things. No, it's so unnecessary. And I think that simplicity wins every single time. And my simplicity is focusing on these 7 essential human skills, but experimenting with the mediums.
Yeah.
To get it out there.
Yeah, because essentially what you're doing is you've got your sort of building blocks there, and it's just they're being packaged in slightly different ways depending on the end purpose of what that product or service is.
Yeah, exactly. And the second thing on that is that the other thing that became very clear to me and slightly surprised me as well, if I'm honest, is that if you have a vision for something in your head, you can absolutely make it happen. There is always a way, always. And of course, referencing what I said earlier with the caveat that there is a need for what you're creating, right? Mm-hmm. If there's not a need for it, it's not going to work. No one's going to want it. But if you have a vision and there's a need for it, you can make it happen. And a good example of this with me is the Let's Talk in-person conversation series, right? Mm-hmm. I wanted a way of bringing people together of my own accord and without the involvement of a workplace. So I wanted to create my own events. I still love working with places of work and education and doing the workplace training, but I wanted a way to bring people together without needing the green light from a workplace or place of education. And if you break it into small steps, you can absolutely make it work. I had to come up with the concept, find a venue, secure a date, get a drink sponsor, advertise it, get people to buy tickets and actually come along, work out how to help people to enjoy the evening as well. And it's a lot when you first think of something. But if you can see it in your mind, I think you can make it happen for sure. And, just yesterday, actually, I was reminded of this saying that Pitbull has. I just saw this video online about it, and I thought, oh yeah, I'd forgotten that. But actually, it's paso corto, vista larga, and it's small steps like towards your big vision, basically. Yeah. And that has become so clear to me. You can make anything happen as long as you've got the vision and you take the small steps towards it. You can pivot in any direction you want to.
Absolutely. I think finally, I'd like to get your opinion on what you would say to someone who knows deep down that they need to change, but still feels stuck or scared to do so.
Take action. Honestly, if you've got multiple options in front of you, take action towards one of those options, because if you don't try, you don't get any clarity. And if you don't get any clarity, you can't improve anything. So then what changes? Nothing. And it's this cycle we get stuck in, don't we?
Yeah.
Through not making a decision, not taking action. You just need to start moving. And failure feels uncomfortable and embarrassing, and it does feel that way for the first few times, at least, that you fail. But if you haven't had enough exposure to failure, like, the fear of failure will prevent you from taking any action at all. But if you take enough action and you fail enough, you're golden, honestly. I don't actually pay attention to failure anymore. It's not something that worries me. Because in the grand scheme of everything, a tiny part of my business has failed because I tried something. Like, it doesn't matter. Yeah. And, to get there, you've got to choose a direction and take action. And that is what I think stops us from feeling stuck or scared,
Yeah, 100%. It's taking that leap, even when you don't know exactly what you're doing or where it's going to go, isn't it? It's just having the courage to just try something and say, If it works, brilliant. If it doesn't, it's just another learning step on that stairway towards the success that will come further down the line.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what I think is really helpful is it sort of softens the possibility even for failure, is building in public. So you might have seen I'm building Human Skills School, and I'm taking people along the journey with me every week for the next 15 weeks until it has been built, you know. And I'm just doing that with one video or one post to social media per week, you know. But also bringing people along to actually build it with me, get people's input, get people's thoughts, have discussions with people, ask the important questions to make sure you're building something with people so that it's helpful for people. And everyone's seen that I'm building this in public, and I'm well aware it might fail. It might do. That's okay. I don't want it to fail, don't get me wrong.
No,
I really don't want it to. But if it does, it's fine. We can just reiterate and go in a different direction.
Awesome. Exactly that. Well, I hope to see the end product of this, not in failure, obviously. It's been fabulous to watch your journey up until this point.
Oh.
And long may it continue. I can't wait to see what other things you come up with and you create. In the meantime, just remind everybody where they can find you online or how they can get in touch with you.
Yeah, of course. So I'm at Let's Talk Human Skills on social media. So on Instagram, LinkedIn as Hayley Dawson, Hayley. And for workplace training and to come along to the Let's Talk conversation series in London and things, it's letstalkhumanskills.com, and all of the information is there.
Brilliant. And I will obviously link it in the show notes to those. And I'll also link back to the original episode. So if anybody wants to go back and listen to where you started, they can. Hayley, thank you so much for letting us in on, you know, what's been going on over the last, what's it been now? A couple of years, I guess.
2 years, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Amazing. And have a wonderful summer.
Thank you.
And I'll keep my eyes on Let's Talk Human Skills.
Please do. Thank you so much for your support, and thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you for listening to this summer mini-series. If you're already feeling that itch to pivot, or even just to pause and rethink, this is your reminder that you don't have to do it alone. Whether you're craving clarity, courage, or just someone to say, you're not crazy for wanting more, I'm here for that. You can book a free call with me using the link in the show notes. No pressure, no expectation, just space to explore what's next for you. So stay rebellious, keep making mischief, and meet me back here next week for another episode of Switch Track. Because changing course might just be the most powerful move you make.